It's your girl, Mrs. Tony Two Times, and I'm back with another episode of Hood Tales. In this video, let's take it to Woodbridge, Virginia, to tell the story of Egypt Carter, who thought she was helping her husband, not knowing it was all a setup. But before we get into this video, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you never miss another upload. Stay tuned until the end to hear the full story. Everything in this video is alleged. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. Egypt Zapporah Carter was only 23 years old, but in those 23 years, she had already accomplished more than many people do in a lifetime. Her mother, Cynthia Hatcher, remembers Egypt as bright, ambitious, driven, and the type of person who could illuminate any room she walked into. Egypt grew up in Bowie, Maryland, where she became a leader at a young age. She served as senior class president at Charles Herbert Flowers High School before earning a scholarship to attend Bennett College in North Carolina. And Egypt wasn't the type to take her opportunities for granted. She worked hard, graduated college in just 3 years, and eventually started her own small business. Her family saw a young woman with her entire life ahead of her. But there was something about Egypt's personal life that her parents didn't fully understand. In May 2021, Egypt secretly married a man named Lionel Melvin Carter III. And when her parents eventually found out, they were stunned. Not only was Egypt married without their knowledge, her husband was sitting inside a Virginia state prison. And Lionel wasn't incarcerated over some minor offense. He was serving a 30-year sentence for taking the life of his former girlfriend, 19-year-old Khadijah Stewart. A decade earlier in 2014, Lionel had been arrested following a tragic incident in Richmond involving his 19-year-old high school sweetheart, Khadijah Stewart. Khadijah had been found inside a vehicle with fatal firearm injuries after an intimate partner dispute. Khadijah's mother later shared that the relationship between her and Lionel had been troubled, noting that Khadijah once warned friends to hold Lionel accountable if anything ever happened to her. Lionel fled state lines before being apprehended in Georgia, ultimately receiving a multi-decade prison sentence for taking her life. Knowing Lionel's past, Egypt's parents were deeply alarmed by the marriage and harbored serious reservations. However, wanting to keep their daughter close, they tread lightly so as to not push her away or isolate her. Over time, the reality of the situation began to set in for Egypt. She realized the marriage was a mistake and decided she wanted out. But leaving Lionel wasn't so simple. Egypt confided in her mother that she wanted to end the relationship, but was terrified for her safety, revealing that when she expressed her desire to leave, Lionel threatened her life. Her mother recalled her daughter's chilling realization that walking away could carry severe consequences. By early February 2024, the situation was escalating. On the evening of February 1st, Egypt's father felt a sudden, heavy gut feeling that something wasn't right. When he called her, Egypt shared that she was driving to Woodbridge, Virginia to pick up prescription narcotics for her husband under the pretense of helping him out. Sensing danger, her father urged her to turn around and head straight home. But Egypt kept going. And investigators would later allege that the entire thing was a setup. Egypt wasn't simply going to help her husband. According to investigators, Egypt was being deliberately lured to the area under a false pretense. Egypt arrived in the Dale City area during the early morning hours of February 2nd. She was driving a gray Toyota with North Carolina tags. Her phone showed that she had been communicating with someone using the alias Mr. Robot and sending her location. Egypt apparently believed she was there to make a narcotics-related transaction. Instead, investigators say she was walking directly into an ambush. Shortly after 2 a.m., Egypt was sitting inside her vehicle near Bronson Court and Brickwood Drive, close to the Orchard Mills apartment complex. Then, shots were fired. At approximately 2:07 a.m., Prince William County officers arrived. Egypt was still sitting behind the wheel of her running vehicle. Beside her was her small dog, uninjured but barking in distress. Her car had come to a rest against a parked vehicle. She had suffered multiple firearm wounds and was pronounced gone at the scene. The body camera footage would later become part of the evidence in the case. Officers searched the area and located shell casings around the vehicle. But the strangest part of the investigation was that police may have encountered two people connected to the shooting almost immediately. Roughly 10 minutes after officers arrived, another officer encountered two men walking nearby. They were 27-year-old Drew Courtney Buchanan and 30-year-old Denzel Scott Wade. The officer asked them whether they had heard anything. They said they hadn't. The officer asked whether they had weapons. They said no. Then the officer asked Buchanan if he could pat him down. Buchanan declined to consent to the search.
They had an incident up here not too far. Did you guys hear anything?
No, sir.
You guys have any weapons on you?
Sir. No,
you mind
sir.
if I pat you down just because of the incident we had?
I don't consent to searches, sir.
At that moment, police didn't have enough cause to detain the men, so they continued on. But investigators would later allege that Buchanan had the weapon used in the shooting inside his pocket. Months went by as detectives began piecing together what appeared to be a much larger conspiracy. According to investigators, this wasn't a random crime. It was allegedly a hit-for-hire plot, and investigators would eventually point back to the man Egypt had married, Lionel Carter. As detectives unraveled the case, the horrifying truth emerged. Investigators allege that Lionel Carter masterminded a paid hit on his own wife from inside Sussex State Prison, using another inmate to communicate in coded language with outside operatives. Detectives allege that Lionel offered $10,000 for the hit. According to charging documents and investigators, Lionel allegedly reached out to another inmate and began organizing a plan to have his wife eliminated. The alleged plan involved multiple people on the outside. Investigators say Egypt was lured to Woodbridge under the pretense of picking up the prescription narcotics. Instead, she was ambushed. Authorities eventually identified Rorethus Grayshawn McKinnon Jr. as another alleged participant. According to prosecutors, McKinnon communicated with people inside and outside prison and allegedly recruited Buchanan to carry out the hit. The communications were not always straightforward. Much of the evidence involved coded messages and conversations conducted through social media and messaging applications. Authorities would later describe the case as technically challenging because so much of the evidence had to be pieced together from digital communications. But detectives kept digging, and one of the biggest breakthroughs came from an informant. Investigators also recovered Egypt's cell phone. That phone helped detectives understand where she had been and who she had been communicating with before the incident. Her phone showed communication with the individual known as Mr. Robot. Investigators also began examining the phones and social media accounts connected to the suspects. And that's where the digital trail became difficult to ignore. According to investigators, Buchanan's phone contained an Apple Maps search for the location where Egypt was ambushed approximately an hour before the shooting. His internet history also showed searches for news about the incident afterward. His phone contained communications with a number of investigators associated with McKinnon. And investigators obtained McKinnon's Instagram records, which allegedly showed communications with someone incarcerated before the incident. Authorities also obtained information connecting those communications to Buchanan. Then Buchanan himself began talking. He confessed to taking Egypt's life. His DNA was compared with DNA recovered from cartridge casings at the scene, and investigators said he could not be eliminated as a contributor. He also admitted that he later took the weapon apart and disposed of portions of it. The case was beginning to come together. 8 months after Egypt's life was taken, on October 15, 2024, Drew Buchanan was arrested in the Manassas area. 2 weeks later, on October 29th, Denzel Wade was taken into custody. Then, on December 2nd, a Prince William County grand jury indicted 4 men in connection with Egypt's slaying: Lionel Melvin Carter III, Gorithus Grayshawn McKinnon Jr., Denzel Scott Wade, and Drew Courtney Buchanan. Each man was accused of playing a different role in the alleged conspiracy. Buchanan was accused of carrying out the hit. Wade was accused of being present and later helping with the aftermath. McKinnon was accused of helping arrange the hit, and Lionel Carter was accused of orchestrating the plot from prison. All 4 were charged with offenses including aggravated hit, shooting in an occupied vehicle, use of a firearm in the commission of a felony, and conspiracy. Drew Buchanan ultimately pleaded guilty to first-degree hit in March 2025. And rather than remaining silent, Buchanan took the witness stand and testified against McKinnon. During the trial, prosecutors questioned Buchanan about the coded communications used to arrange the hit on Egypt. He acknowledged that he understood the messages were asking him to participate in a plot to end a life. McKinnon was ultimately found guilty of second-degree hit by a Prince William County jury on March 26, 2025. He faces up to 40 years in prison. Denzel Wade took a different path. He pleaded guilty to a lesser accessory after-the-fact charge. He received a 5-year sentence with 4 years suspended. That sentence deeply frustrated Egypt's parents, who believed Wade deserved much more punishment for his role. And then there's Lionel Carter. The man accused of orchestrating the entire operation from behind prison walls was brought out of state custody to face the primary charges, with his trial set as the final courtroom proceeding. He is considered innocent until proven guilty. For Egypt's family, sitting through the courtroom body camera footage and hearing the cold, transactional nature of the scheme was heartbreaking. It was also revealed in court that Egypt was under the impression that Lionel was set to be released in February 2024, the exact same month her life was taken. Her mother shared how agonizing it was to see that, to these men, a bright young life meant so little, all for money they never even received. May Egypt Zapporah Carter continue to rest in peace. My deepest thoughts, sympathy, and well wishes go out to Egypt's parents, her loved ones, and everyone whose lives were touched. Her light was extinguished far too soon, but her family's dedication to seeking accountability ensures her memory is honored. Looking back at this case, it raises so many troubling questions. It's difficult not to ask, how did Egypt not see all the red flags and sirens blaring when it came to Lionel? Did she think that the marriage could really work? An online registry was even created for their November 2021 wedding. Egypt was so young, so full of hope, while taking on such a huge role, not only as a wife, but a wife to an inmate serving a 30-year sentence for taking his high school sweetheart's life. It's so heartbreaking that Egypt herself met the same tragic fate. What did Egypt see in Lionel? And the fact that prosecutors allege Lionel masterminded a similar crime from prison after already serving time for taking another woman's life raises serious questions about whether some people are truly capable of rehabilitation. But regardless of what Egypt saw in Lionel, one thing is certain: Egypt didn't deserve what happened to her. Maybe she was just a young woman looking for love in all the wrong places, and before she realized it, it was already too late. One last thing. What do you do when someone you love is making a decision you believe could put them in danger? Do you confront them? Do you constantly warn them? Do you give them space? Do you try to stay close enough that they will come to you when they're ready? There isn't always an easy answer, and Egypt's story is a painful reminder that leaving a dangerous relationship isn't always as simple as saying, "I'm done." Sometimes the person trying to leave may be afraid of what the other person will do. Sometimes they may feel trapped. Sometimes they may not fully understand how dangerous the situation has become until they're already deep into it. Egypt's mother later shared that her daughter was terrified, and her father had that uneasy feeling that very night Egypt drove toward Woodbridge. He told her to come home, but tragically, she never made it back. Fam, I'm going to leave the rest up to you. Let me know your thoughts on this story in the comments below. All right, fam, that's it for this episode of Hood Tales. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video informative and believe these stories matter, please consider liking this video so more people can see it. Subscribe for more stories like this that deserve to be heard. And most importantly, take care of yourself and those around you. This is your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 times. Until next time.